Now watch. Oh, can't really tell. Once I have a close-up, Mr. DeMille, ready for my close-up. All right, I'll call the North St. Paul Arts and Culture Commission to order. It's at 6:30 PM. It is June 7th, 2023. We will go to the call to order and roll call. So Sarah, if you could please take the roll for us.
Sure. Tom Sonnek.
Here.
Carey Nadeau.
Here.
Amanda Black.
Here.
Stacy Maher.
Here.
Emily Haeg Nguyen.
Here.
Lisa Ritchie is excused. C. Yang.
Here.
And Cecelia Goracki and Lisa Wong are both excused.
And staff, Sarah Lang, are you here?
Sure am.
All right. Okay, so item 3 is to adopt the agenda. Is anything, anybody see here that you would like to change or any additions to what you see? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as is.
So moved.
Moved by Carey,
Second.
second by C. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, agenda is adopted. So the approval of minutes, if you all had a chance to read through the minutes, if there's any discussion, any edits required, please let me know. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as stated.
So moved.
Move to
Seconded.
approve by Stacy, second by Amanda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Meeting open to the public. There's nobody here. Public hearings, we have none. So commission business and action items, so we'll get right into it. So project updates. So we'll start at the top again with Project Snowy. Do we have any updates on this project, Stacy, C, or Amanda?
Sure do.
Oh, fantastic. What do you got?
All right. Well, I mean, just to keep everybody up to date, right? So I will start, and then I'll hand it off to Amanda to share the rest of the updates. But so from our last meeting, we've done a lot of more finalizing of our programming details.
Okay.
And so those have gone to Brandy and Sara to do a review. I know that they've made some suggestions, and so we just need to go through and kind of like finalize and look at them. And I think there were some things that the subcommittee just needs to talk about, but once that gets finished, then we can start doing some like, outreach with information. And we could share it around as well, so that everybody knows what's going on. But I think some of the things that we still need to look into is like, is the space at Public Works where the Snowies will sit, is that a covered space?
Yes. They're going to be inside the building. I clarified that. They will be inside.
Okay.
Great, excellent.
Raise the roof, literally.
Because we were like, do we have to, rent tents or something? Which, okay, that's perfect. And then as far as like the clear coat, cost, I know we've kind of gone back and forth about it, but one of the thing, but I'm still pretty sure we still want to have that come out of our budget, and I'm thinking perhaps out of budget this year, since I think any potential transportation fees will come out of next year's budget. So potentially we could buy the clear coat from our $1,000.
I see. And just store it until
Yes.
needed, okay.
Yes, if possible. So, still something that we can look into. And so one of the things that we brought up last time was that potentially did we want to, should we, or present at City Council? And that was also because we were thinking a lot about the transportation costs. But since then, we have had more options open to us. And one of that is just that basically I think the transportation cost itself might be lower than what we had initially thought. So not the 5,000, maybe more like 500-600, potentially. But then also we have another potential in-kind donation from Cornerstone Concrete, who might be willing to do some assistance with like transportation as well. So that's exciting, and we're hoping to kind of keep them in the loop so that they remember when it when it comes time next year. So, timeline,
Is Cornerstone Concrete, is that a North St. Paul business?
it is, well, it has a branch, it's based out of, I think, Stillwater, really?
Stillwater?
But, they have one, it's on the corner of, like, right by Oakdale, on 7th and, yeah, right, yeah. And Century, that's the other street, yes. And so, so not presenting to the city council, but we were looking to present to the business association. However, we have not heard back from them, so I don't know if we will be getting on to their June meeting. And if not on their June meeting, I believe our subcommittee looked it up, and it doesn't look like there's another summer meeting scheduled for them. So potentially, we might not be presenting to them, but we're happy to send more info via email or, share in other methods so that they are kept abreast of what's happening.
I'm sorry, who's not meeting in this summer?
Business association?
business,
Yep.
okay.
Because there was the talk of like kind of keeping them in the loop.
Yeah.
So, more stuff, which I'm gonna hand over to Amanda to talk about since, she's done a lot of work in the business research part, so.
So the next step for us is going to be reaching out to businesses and organizations about purchases. We are mere weeks away from doing that. What we wanted to do first, before we get to that point, is we'll have our full programming established, our agreements for the businesses and the artist finalized, a website set up for information, and then if we were going to do that business association meeting. Once those things are complete, we can start our outreach. And this is really the part where our subcommittee would like to ask for the help of the full commission. And what Sara and I have put together a large list of businesses and organizations in the area. It's about 130 right now. We've divided that list into 3 sections. So those businesses that are on 7th Avenue, the businesses and organizations that would be east of Margaret or west of Margaret. So those 3 areas. My proposal is that we split up into groups of 2 or 3 to tackle each section. And I'm going to pass out now. This was not included in your packet since I just finished it today. I'm working on a brochure so nobody's seen this, not even Stacy or C.
This is fantastic.
A brochure that we can hand out to these groups, and then kind of an outreach plan here. So when we do split up into our little sections, this is how I kind of see it going. So that 1-page snowy outreach plan, my idea is that each group would then visit their businesses and organizations. They would leave this brochure either ideally with a manager or owner. If not, they can leave it with an employee to then pass on to the manager. 2 weeks later, follow up with a phone call to see if there are any questions and make sure that those managers who didn't receive the information did receive it. If they are not interested, we're taking them off the list. We will not keep contacting them. If they're interested, we send them along to Sara to get the purchase agreement signed and continue forward there. If it's a maybe, see if they have any questions. 3 weeks later, we can mail the brochure again just to keep them reminded of the project. And then 1 week later, a follow-up phone call. This is all just to ensure that we touch base with them several times, but we do not overstep our bounds with reaching out to them too much. And the brochure, I really took the verbiage from the flyer that C had put together previously. There's one thing, so there's a website listed that is just what I threw in for now. We do not have a current website.
I was going to ask, because we're going to put a website up. Is there a way, because I know the city's websites are like really long,
We can do like
do a hyperlink, like a tiny URL, something that's easier
Yeah,
to
and she can
access?
also rename them to be like northstpaul.org/snowy. So we can do that as well.
Okay.
Is that, could you do that and just email our subcommittee
Yes.
when it's done?
Well, I was going to talk to
Oh, okay.
Sara and Carey about website, other things as well.
Yes. That sounds
I'll touch base with you.
Perfect.
Thoughts?
This is amazing.
I think it's fantastic.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, so the ask is that the full commission
Yeah.
help out with this outreach. Just because, you know, there's 130 plus businesses.
Yeah. So do we want to make, if, I don't know how you want to do that, but if you were to send me a list of businesses and brochures and say, go to these ones, I would do that.
So the proposal was to have 3 groups of commission members together, and then the groups can organize how they want
Tom
to
can do
do
all
their
mine.
assigned.
What?
You can do all of mine too.
I think that's what the ask is, right?
Yeah, so my thought was 2 maybe people go out together
see.
and then visit all these places. Whether you, it's up to you. So say Stacy and Tom are together, you two discuss whether you want to split that list or if you want to go out together to all of these places.
Yeah.
We'll just try to make sure it all happens around the same timeline once we have everything in place.
Yeah, fantastic. And the expectation of the outreach plan, so visiting businesses and organizations would happen in like a few weeks, is that what you're thinking?
And as long as everything is ready, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And where we're at, we just got the contracts back from legal today, actually. So we
Okay.
have not gotten a chance to go review them, but they are on board with the plan that the subcommittee set. And so we just got to double check all the wording, but we should be, like, we're just right there. So I should be, by the end of this week, we should have confirmation. That's all a go.
Yeah.
Do we want to have anything, like, when does it, like, it doesn't say when it will happen?
You're right, it doesn't.
I like that it doesn't say when it will happen and that it directs you to look at the website, because right now we are in such a fluid, this project has been so fluid
Yeah.
for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That boxing us into a date,
Yeah.
no, put all the dates on the website and that can change, so we're not gonna have to reprint.
A big plan with the brochure was to keep it limited in information,
Get people's attention.
get their attention so that they can go to the website. We didn't even list all the benefits on this at all that we had on the previous flyer. Those will be on the website.
Okay.
Is it worth saying spring of '24? Like, something at least
Yeah.
generic on there?
General timeline,
Yeah.
I think so.
20.
Yeah, I don't think you
We're
wouldn't
not
want to put a
committing,
date, a specific date, but I think a general,
Or we could just say in 2024.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
I hate to err on the side of caution,
yeah.
but 2.5 years, so. This is beautiful work, Amanda.
Thanks.
You did a good job.
Outreach question. For those of us not on the subcommittee who would be helping with this, would we just be doing the initial visiting of the businesses, or would we do the follow-up phone calls, mailing, brochures, that type of thing?
I would love if you also did follow-up phone calls. Obviously, the 3 of us on the subcommittee have a lot more of the knowledge, but we can certainly send out some information that are common questions that may come up as well.
Sure.
So that you're much more informed.
But you'll have a lot of that info on the website as well,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
I think one of the things that we talked about as a subcommittee is that, you know, like, showing up cold, it can sometimes, like, not lead to the best results. I'm wondering if folks on the commission also have, like, warm contacts with any of the businesses within North St. Paul that, you know, like, maybe you guys would want to, you know, like, do in particular, just because, you know, you have a contact. You know, like, we were also wondering about certain citizens who might also be partial to this project, who could also lend their help in outreach.
Yeah. I know of a citizen.
That citizen's out of town and for most of the summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
But we are,
make some phone calls.
yeah, but we are accepting purchases until up through November as well. So it's
Okay.
like, so we have time for the outreach.
So a lot of time. So that's good, you know, so now we can say, hey, you get this thing in June or July, and you have until November to make a decision, and then we can, I don't know if we decided if there's tag-ons, like after, the cost might just be different, but if they decide late, I don't know, whatever.
I think it depends how many purchases we receive.
Right. Great.
If we receive enough by November, I don't mind saying sold out.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Wow, this is really great organization. I love it.
It's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
It's exciting.
Good, good. Well, it's good, so it's not happening this year, but it's given more time to be more deliberate in the planning and make sure we're covering every aspect of it, so it looks good. It's great work. Anything else on Project Snowy?
No, does anybody have any other questions for us?
I don't, I might think of something later. I'm just really happy to see the momentum on this. This is great. Yeah, I see that little Snowy out there out front, and I'm like, will there ever be another one?
Speaking of that, was there a plan, that was pre-me, was there a plan for that one to be decorated?
Oh, yes.
Is there still a plan for that one to be?
Oh,
We
yes.
get asked all the time. so I
Yes,
just wanna-
that one will be rolled into the project.
Okay.
And so when we have the call for artists, that's one of the, so this, basically, the city is the first owner of one of these that will be rolled into the project and decorated, yeah.
Okay,
And so, and it may not sit outside of City Hall forever, right? We could move that one somewhere else,
Yeah.
too. Yeah, great, great. Okay, somehow I switched these around or something. I have murals as item C, but it's the next in order. So, Carey, do you want to give us the update on Project Murals?
Well, I did, and then now I got to follow that amazing presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, we got something going.
We got something going. We were rejected for our MRAC grant, so back to the drawing board on that. Bummer. But we did pull together a call for artists. We sent that out to 34 muralists around the state. We have some interest already, which is great. We have identified the Silver Lake Beach bathroom site as the site. $4,000 for the commission fee for that, including materials. We're asking artists to submit their ideas by June 19th, and we'll make a selection by June 30th, and we plan to have the mural completed by the end of August.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so I
Yeah, that is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
So I actually have a presentation on this that I was
Oh,
gonna
yeah, Tom
just
made it really
use
nice.
for the, I would use it for the, when we go to the Parks Commission. But I'll send it to you, Sarah, and you can send it to the commissioners here, just if, emails.
Did you get feedback from your grant at all that we could learn from?
Yeah, they just uploaded it, so I haven't downloaded it yet. So I'm gonna do that and check out what they have to say. I'm sure it's just you're too new and need more info and everything else that's normal in a first grant, but, you know.
So Sarah, I sent you a presentation. If you want to send it out to the rest of the group, that'd be great.
yeah, sure.
And again, I took the data from your box wrap project,
Yeah.
and I coded everything, which was so much fun. I love doing color coding in Excel. And we've got 8 votes for Silver Lake Beach, 5 for the Gateway Trail, 4 for along 7th, 4 for Love Ice Cream, 2 for in the parks, and 2 for along Schreier. So we've definitely got community interest in a bunch of different places
Yeah.
for future murals. So
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna
think
be great.
So is the plan then to go to the next park meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
So when is that one?
That is June 28th.
I mean, did
30.
Laura answer all of their questions already? Do they still need it?
So that was an interesting meeting, and there were some discussions. Laura answered some of their questions. She said that we were intimidated to go present in front of them,
Who is?
Arts Commission, which I thought was.
We are not.
For the record, no.
She did say that she'd be happy to be the liaison between the commissions to pass information, but they kind of did stress they would rather have somebody from our group
I'm
come. And
absolutely
Yeah.
happy to come and talk to them. Yes, and I've got the presentation, and so I'm hoping that maybe then when we meet, the presentation can be shared on the screen. You know, I never really did figure out how you do the, hook up a computer to this stuff, but, so we could go through it live with them. I know they had mentioned just having it in like public comment section, so I don't know if they want a whole presentation, but I've got one. And
I think they do.
I included in there a lot of information of just the value of public art, and how that can help our city, so. Anyway, so, yeah, that's there, and you can feel free, Sarah, to pass that along to the Parks Commission. I don't know who their staff liaison is. Is that Brandy?
Jill.
Jill, oh, yeah, Jill, right. But yes, I'm more than happy to come and present.
Their main question, so just to give you a heads up, was, are we doing the 3 sides? And if so, is there a plan to go on top of the doors, the bathroom doors with the mural?
So I would, my answer for right now would be, yeah. But we'll see. I mean, it kind of depends on what the artist designs come back looking like, you know, so, but, and again, this is just my assumption because of what I think would be cool, and that is to just paint that whole front paint the doors as well. I mean, still, you have to have it say, you know, men and women or however it's listed on the thing probably, but you need to let people still know there's toilets in there, right? But yeah, I don't,
Yeah, that seemed to be their main concern. This time that and colors, so we didn't go neon colors. And I said, we won't,
yes,
probably.
it's gonna be,
Bright colors.
we're looking for something really horrific. Really shock the neighborhood. No, we put in our request to artists that it would be something that's complementary with the surroundings. A natural theme complementary with the surroundings. And so there's close-up and then there's backup pictures so the artist can see what the surroundings look like, or they can always go and look at it themselves. But but we had about 6 or 8 artists that we had found, and then Carey went and found about 30 more. So really, and sounds like Carey's getting some good feedback already, so that's exciting. Some really great stuff, so I think it can be really neat.
Oh, yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
Did you say that you guys have selected an artist already, or?
We have not, no.
Okay, and so they're gonna submit designs, and then you guys are going to kind of look at them?
Yeah, and that's why I think we'll work with the artist. So if we find somebody that
Oh, the style or something?
fits the bill, you know, so there's design. We also ask for artists who would be willing to engage with the community in some way. So whether that's with allowing, you know, community members to help paint the mural itself, or that's coming to a community event to talk to the residents about painting murals or something, I don't know, somehow engaging with the community, that would be a plus for any applicant. But, you know, we want to find something that, like I said, is complementary to the neighborhood, but also, you know, is dynamic and vibrant, really adds something to the community.
I have more questions than that.
Yeah.
So the, you know, like engaging with the community, have you guys considered about like media opportunities, like publicizing the work, or, you know,
We
like,
have not.
or the stories, or say like, you know, depending on what artist you choose, you know, like making that a story in itself. So that's the thought. And then the other was, you know, like how you were saying, would they go paint over the doors? I would actually wonder if it'd be better not to, just because, you know, like I think clearly delineating what is a door for like those with like low vision, or those who like, you know, like where it's harder to discern like, what is a door, what isn't. I think it just, you know, like having something easier for people to be like, this is a door.
I would also say upkeep on a door would probably be
Yeah.
more as well.
Yeah.
There could be something in between to make it accessible where the door is still outlined, but included in the art as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping an artist comes up with something interesting that way. I think muralists, the people who've done this a lot, have probably run into these situations where you're dealing with some mechanical aspect of the canvas that you're dealing with. And how do you, maybe you incorporate that into the design itself, or how you work around it. So, a good question for the artist.
Can I ask what the call for artists looked like, and what was asked, or where you got responses, things like that?
Yeah, it was an email.
Yeah, we just emailed our artist directly. But yes, we can send that to you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think, Carey, you
right
had
now.
made some final touch-ups on that email, right?
I liked C's question about media and storytelling, and I would love to help with that if,
Fantastic.
when we get there.
This is
Yeah.
why,
Mhm.
this is why we have you two on the commission. Part of the reason, because you're good at this stuff. Okay, let me,
You know, just a way to get ACC's name out there as well.
Yeah.
You got it.
so you're thinking like once it's being done, once it's, when the painting is in progress, I mean, obviously we want to reach out ahead of time, but have media maybe out there for while it's being executed?
Yeah, I think that would be a fun story to watch it be completed, and we could figure out what type of narrative we want and do press releases or pitch it to individual reporters.
Great. Yeah, I love the ideas. This is great. Any other good ideas or thoughts or questions? So it's our goal is to get it done by the end of summer. So with our call for artists, we thought it would help speed the process by going directly to artists, reaching out to them directly, giving them a deadline, and then coming up with a decision within a couple weeks, I think, after that, hopefully. And I still see it being sort of it may be an iterative process, right? So once, we might select an artist with a design idea that then could be further developed as needed. For the very reason of like things like working, like how do we work with the doors? What's gonna make sense there, and how do we work with the other colors and things like that? Anything else on that one? Okay, well, let's keep going. So next up is the utility boxes, and I know progress is being made there.
Yeah, I can speak on that.
Okay.
So we got the final proofs back. They looked great. So they're in production right now, and they're planning to install them the week of Juneteenth, so here in about a week and a half. There's not a firm date yet, but I can send that out when there is, so you guys can all go out and check them out, but they look fabulous. So it's just the two for now. It is just the bookstore and the one on 3rd and 7th. But it's an exciting, we're getting there. We're real close.
That's awesome. And so where are we then with Roddy's? Is the ball in their court and we just need them to respond? Are they choosing, or can we just choose for them? And
I think the ball is back in our court. I don't know if that means we re-pick images for them via the subcommittee. I think, as C talked about before, that might have been the problem, is they weren't super thrilled with the images we picked. So I think it's back in our court to re-propose it to them later, which we still do have money for. So we should still be able to do that this year if they would like to.
Okay.
Our city manager did ask that if we could have them pick it, that would be preferred.
right,
So I think we should still go that route, but maybe selecting different images or maybe going with a collage or something like that.
okay.
Quick question, so were the images that were submitted to Roddy's, were those historical images from the History Center?
They sure were.
And, okay.
So Lisa and I went to the Historical Society and gotten some photos, but, you know, like, the images are really just scanned photos. And, you know, like, I literally had to, like, go home and, like, you know, cut them out to size so that you could actually see them. So, so it was, you know, like, selecting appropriate, like, and good historical photos in itself was also, like, a process. So I would say if, you know, like, I think if they have a really particular thought, it might require more work to really dig through, like, photos that would match their preferences at the Historical Society. yeah, so I think, like, because that would require a lot more time and effort to do so, I think we're just gonna put them on hold for now. Like, like, even if it was to wait for next year, I don't think, like, that would, I don't see a big problem with that, if they wanna make sure that it's right. I wanna make sure that's right for them as well, so.
Yeah.
We do have, I think, potentially 1,400 left over once everything is said and done. So we could still do some additional wrapping this year yet, and our little subcommittee can still meet about that, but, so, like, we're still looking for quick wins, and remember, this is still like, just like the initial launch. I still think phase 2 and having like that community input or even like submissions should still come in phase 2, which I would say like next year. So, but with the remaining, I think our subcommittee should come up with another idea on how to make better use of that. And if not Roddy's, then somewhere else where we can like experiment or do something amazing.
The historical images are definitely like Roddy's preference in a way, and it kind of limits us, but there could be some outside of the box approaches, like maybe we could have Roddy's staff submit pictures and we can make those into a collage to wrap. So something where like we collect like a number of pictures, and so then it's a photo collage of Roddy's people that makes their patrons come and find themselves, or I don't know, like they really are tied to history, but then disappointed with the historical images that we have. So we're kind of stuck, but maybe we can just get a little creative and figure it out.
I think that's a good approach too, is if they submit photos that they like as well, kind of manipulating those to work.
Yeah, we just want to make sure it doesn't become an extension of Roddy's and a Roddy's advertisement.
Right.
That would be my concern.
Think outside the utility box.
Yeah.
Wow, Amanda. Thank you. Wow.
Keep them coming, Amanda.
Make sure that's in the meeting
We'll
notes,
be here all
please.
week.
Do you have a mic to drop right now? No.
Yeah, that's hard. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
But we've got,
I also think maybe we can look for, we'll revisit, because we can look for the same way we did with the other box images, maybe open domain, that are sports themed, historical themed in general, that could still capture their feelings without coming from the Historical Society.
Could I comment?
Yeah.
no. Not after that last one.
With the 2 boxes that are being done, I saw one of the mock-ups and the same image is being put on each side, essentially. I'd love to see a box that has an image that works all the way around rather than it being repeated. So if there's a template that the utility box people can give us for the Roddy's box or any other one, that can be worked with.
Yeah, and I think also, like, each box is a different size. So, like how it would look, or like the template would of course be different for each. But I can agree with you, Amanda. I would also like to see one where it's creatively stretched around the whole box instead of being the image being repeated.
That's how I thought they were. That it was just-
Is that something we can ask them, Sarah?
I did ask him that with the files that we selected, they're not able to stretch them at all. So,
What are the can we get the parameters on what's needed for that? Because then
So
we
it's
can,
something about the file that we sent, that it would need to be a different type of file?
yeah, and it wasn't large enough for them to stretch it. The images that we picked really weren't gonna work for that. He did suggest doing separate images, so if we did historical images, it's a different one on each side, which could work.
Yeah, I kind of like that historical collage idea, that you'd walk up to it and then you could really see all kinds of historical photos. But-
Yeah.
But we're talking about the other ones, though, so
Yes.
like the bookstore one and the other one, it's the images repeated on every side?
Yes.
It's really hard to find images large enough to be stretched all the way around a box like that. so I was around for the beginning of the search, and we were looking, it's just hard to find images that big that are free.
Or low
And
cost.
when you say
Yeah.
big, what does that mean? Like is it the pixels or something?
Yeah.
Is that what we mean? Okay.
Right.
It is that, and it's also, when you're including the top of it, it makes it very hard to have any sort of image pull together over the top that's gonna look not distorted or that you can actually see.
Yeah.
So if we decided not to wrap the top, then we could have something more full, just go around once.
Could
But
they-
because we did the top,
I think the pictures, Stacy just showed me the pictures. I think it looks pretty good.
I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying I'd love to see a creative use of a box.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they weren't wrapped, because I feel like some of that imagery we were selecting intentionally to
perfect
have
for
it
wrapping.
going all the way around, but
Right.
it's good feedback. We're not, I'm not
Yeah,
a
we're-
graphic professional.
We're all learning on this stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
and I think if we do end up having people actually go out and paint it by hand, that's gonna solve that issue, because it'll look nice.
Are we talking about that?
We could do that. It is an option.
Oh, okay.
The adopt, what Carey sent, adopt a utility box where, down on Minneapolis, where they were, and then they had like the QR code for the artists.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I think it's good, and I think, we're starting with having a phased approach, so we're learning a lot the first time through. And then we can take what we learned for the second time and then the third time or whatever. So I think there are lots of opportunities for these things and,
That's right, so we don't have to like replace all of them and
right,
at the same time.
right.
Go along.
Okay, anything else then about the utility boxes? Okay. Art cart, so the only thing I would say about this is, so Friday night at the car show, is anybody else available to join? I think Lisa said we have the 2 volunteers who will be running the thing. And then Carey's going, I'm going. Anybody else gonna make it on Friday?
This
I
week.
might make it later
Okay.
in the evening.
I think we only keep the art cart open for a couple hours?
Yep.
Yeah, right? What time does it even open, do we know?
I mean, we can get there as early as 4, but I think the car show starts at 6.
Oh,
So even if it's 6 to 8, that we have the art card open, or 6 to 9.
Yeah.
That's okay, I think.
yeah.
I
Okay,
might be able to make it for the later half, but yeah.
I think the biggest concern is getting the doors open and closed. The big, yeah, kind of heavy.
I'm a maybe.
Okay.
I'll do what I can.
Sarah, did you have anything to add on the art cart?
The only thing for this Friday is the aprons came too.
Oh,
They're in the art cart, so I don't have them, so when the volunteers are there, they can.
great. And it sounded, Lisa said that she organized the art cart and it's all ready to go or something.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, great. Anything else on art cart? Toilet paper rolls, did we settle that last week? Do you still have all
I
these?
sure do
See?
still have it. I could have, yeah, maybe if I can swing by before going to my event, I might trap it off.
No, don't drop them off on Friday. Just bring them by Sarah's office sometime. Drop them on her desk. Paint and sip. Carey, do you have any update on that one?
No, I don't think we have a rescheduled date for this. Some are just kind of,
It says sometime in June, but we didn't,
I don't think that's happening.
okay. Autumn Arts Festival, Amanda, you want to talk everybody through this one?
Yeah, right now we are waiting to hear on funding. I don't know if Sarah has more information. Sarah from the Parks Commission was speaking with someone on the funding as whether we can get additional funding for the event this year. Once we hear about that, then we can make more decisions going forward. We have the call out for artists still, so if you know any artists who are looking to or have a space at the event, we are still have that out until June 26th right now, but we may extend the deadline. We are meeting our little subcommittee about the layout at the park later this month. And then I did want to extend an invitation if anybody would like to. I am personally attending 2 festivals this month that would be a good example for this art fair. One of them is this coming weekend, Excelsior Art on the Lake. And then the Egan Art Festival, which is the last weekend of the month, June 25th and 26th, I think it is. That one would be a very good example of what I'd want to do here. So if anybody would like to attend those events.
Egan Arts Festival? What are the dates of that one?
June, I think it's 25th and 26th.
Okay.
It's the Saturday and Sunday.
I did get some feedback, so we have vendors, the 15 or so that have registered already, are starting to reach out and saying, hey, we really need to know if we're approved or not. Are we okay to approve the ones that have come through so far?
No.
No, okay.
I mean, Tom and I can take a look at it, but I don't want to accept everyone who's applied because we want to make sure that we have variety. And if there's too many who have applied in a certain category, I don't know if we have that issue yet.
Okay,
We want to make sure that there's some variety there.
okay. Okay. I'll hold them off a little longer,
Thank you.
yeah.
And then also, we're looking for live performers. Sara, talked to Cece, because she said her dance group wanted to do something, and I said, do you have some contact information? And she said she sent something to you? And I don't know.
Yes, and I thought I forwarded it, but if I didn't, I will.
Okay, could you take a look again, because I don't know
Yes.
if I remember seeing that. But I want to start making outreach to these different groups, and if anyone has any other groups, so I've got Inspiration Performing Arts Center, that's the Cece's group. Fusion Drumline, Carey, that's one you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Whose is that?
That's a 622 group.
Does Hammerman lead that, or who,
Pavloni, Mr. Pavloni.
at North High?
He's at John Glenn,
At John Glenn, okay.
other band director.
So I wonder, like, if I could get some contact information.
Contact information.
That'd be great. Someone mentioned indigenous roots. I don't know where that came from. Native American drum dance. But then there's also the, I saw something, I think it was in the North High yearbook. There were some pictures of the Mexican dance, folk dance group. Because that, they came and, they came for the last one. And it's a husband and wife, and the husband teaches at South St. Paul, I think, or maybe South St. Paul High School, I can't remember. But so he has the group at that school, and she has the group here, I think.
That's cool.
Right. So it'd be nice to get some of those North St. Paul kids
Yeah.
involved, so I'll reach out to them. And also looking for some live artist demonstrations too, like a ceramics demonstration was one that we had, but if anybody knows of anything, let me know. And then we'll also have a live band, hopefully, to wrap it up.
And there's no stipend for performers, correct?
So we're trying to see if there can be this year. It's still small stipend, but as we put together a budget to try and say, well, what would everything cost if we did it the way we wanted to, at least right now? I mean, it's a pretty modest budget, you know? And so there's money that is in the events fund, but we can't just like drain that whole thing for this.
Yeah.
We maybe could use part of that, so that's where we are looking to the city council to see if some additional funds could be allocated for this, knowing that we would get some money that would come back from the artist fees, that could help replenish that fund going forward.
I do have, and I hope exciting update on this too. As you guys, most of you probably know Carey Erpenbach, who's been doing communications here for
Yep.
a couple years. She actually got officially hired as a city staff person last week.
Oh,
Nice.
So part of her job is event coordinating.
oh,
Therefore, she will be kind of taking the lead on coordinating all of the events for the city. So for the Autumn Arts Festival, she will be executing it as far as coordinating whatever she needs to do with Public Works or whatever we need to
Oh.
do to coordinate it, coordinating a stage, whatever that looks like. That will not be me, that will be her.
Okay.
But I will still serve as mostly the liaison between our commission
okay.
and her. There are two things, though. She would like to be invited to the subcommittee meetings. Not that
Okay.
she'll be able to go to all of them, but she would
Sure.
at least like to have the opportunity to, as well as the walkthrough for the layout. So
Okay.
if you have
Sarah
your emails.
emailed about the walkthrough with you, I think.
Yes.
Okay,
So I can send that on to her.
okay.
But yeah, just moving forward, I think it's going to be really exciting. Her background is in events.
Yeah, it'll
so-
be great to get our input on the layout for sure.
Yes. So I think, yeah, that'll be great. She also wants to start to get a jump start on next year. I know we haven't even done this year. But kind of what the goal is going to be, to give you a heads up, is once we have our event in September, the very next commission meeting here, she will be attending, and we're going to start planning for next year to try to get a good jump on things. So,
That's what I was hoping for is, I would hope that once we get a good system in place, it can just be a click and repeat for the next year.
yes, with, yeah, just small modifications. So,
Yeah.
and then she asked if, with that plan, if we could have pretty much everything set by the 1st of 2024, so she can start doing promotions, start getting her contacts going, and we can make our jobs a little bit easier too, so.
Can she
great
reach out to
resource.
any other artists who would like to apply?
She sure can. She sure can. She is the one that runs the St. Pete's Festival
Yeah.
too, so she's got, yeah,
I wonder if any of them would like to do 2 weekends in a row.
right? So, yeah, very exciting.
Congratulations, Carey, and the city.
Yeah.
She was
Such a
trying
great
to be
resource.
retired.
Yeah, she was trying, but we dragged her back in. She is only part-time, but still, it's great to have her.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Which she does in 20 weeks, someone does in 40, or in 20 hours, someone does in 40. So
She's, yeah,
she's phenomenal.
she really is.
That's cool.
We're very lucky.
Yeah, so, well, that kind of changes a lot, I think, Amanda. I think about like the administrative and marketing, you know, that can be,
Have we taken everything away from the parks? Except the food truck?
kind of, I don't know. I got Sara for signage under administrative
Yes.
and marketing.
Yes.
Food and concessions, I have Laura. Vendors, I have you. Live performers, me. And then the location planning is everybody.
Yeah.
So between location, logistics, and then marketing and administration, I think Carey could really help out on that.
Definitely.
So we have a work improvement plan for this, Sarah, so we can get that to Carey and help her on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have what I sent you, I think are you able to access that on the shared document? Because as I update it, then you should be able to just see updates.
I don't know if I have access. You might have to send that to me
Okay.
again, and then I don't have to bug you for it.
There's still,
I did not get your email.
you didn't?
No.
I didn't get yours either with the PowerPoint, so.
Okay.
Maybe you're not connected to the internet? I don't know. Anyway.
I'll try that again. Okay, so let's pick it up then where we left out. So I think that was the last thing, Autumn Arts Festival. So that gets us through all the project updates. That's a lot of updates. There's a lot more than I was expecting. So great work, everybody. We got a lot going, you know? And it's interesting. So now we're going to get into this 2024 budget discussion. Sarah, I'm hoping you can kind of help us out with this. And I think you added in the packet just kind of my brief little mock-up here, just so that everyone can see what we're looking at here. Is it on here? It's the last page, maybe, yeah. So what they're asking for this year is that, what is the description of the item? What's the funding request? Is this a new or ongoing thing? And what is the justification for this? And what I can do, I also have our budget request that we use for this year. So we can kind of compare this. But does everyone have that sheet with this, so this is just a first draft here. So you can see there are blank spaces in
It's
there.
okay, I'm looking at it on my computer.
Okay, great. So you can see what I've got on here so far. None of this, this is all just kind of carried over from the other one, so I don't have any specific thoughts about these numbers or anything. It's just kind of we can come up with whatever we want with. And I think, Sarah, our purpose here today is trying to
Trying to
flesh
nail-
this out a little bit more,
Yeah, get
right?
this kind of nailed down, and Brandy's then gonna take it and present it to council, so.
What's a total number that's like shooting for Mars instead of the moon? Like, what's a good total, you know what I mean? Is there
Yes,
such
but
a
I don't
thing?
know there's a good answer for that. Whatever we think is
Justifiable.
justifiable, yep.
I don't see anything for the murals on this yet.
Yeah, there's not anything for murals on here yet. And, you know, this is one thing where, you know, Carey, I haven't talked to you about this, but I was thinking more along the lines of 10,000 for a mural. And then if we get a grant, it could be money that's returned to the city.
Yeah.
You know, potentially. So that's, and rather than having mural project 1, mural project 2, I think it would be one single mural project at 10,000. So I'll add that in here. You can, so here's what we had for this year. Mural project 1, $2,000, mural project 2, $2,000. What we are doing right now for our one mural project that kind of dropped in our lap with the Silver Lake project is we combined those. And so we're saying it's 4,000 inclusive of materials for the artists to do this. And so we've already got some artists interested, which is great, because I thought artists would be like, $4,000, forget it. So I think this is good. Item number 3 was art installation, $2,000. That money is not earmarked for anything yet. We had utility box wraps, $4,000. Project Snowy, $1,000. Art cart supplies, $500, and branding and communications, $500. So any of those things where it was kind of carryover, where we knew those things would happen this, next year as well, I added those. So utility box wraps, phase 2, $4,000 again. If you want that number to be different, let's talk. Project Snowy, $1,000. If we need that number to be different, let's talk. Art cart supplies, branding and communication, Autumn Arts Festival. Here's where, Amanda, I'm like, do we even include that on here? I don't know.
So I can answer that.
Great.
So, to put it simply, there's a park and rec budget, there's an arts commission budget, and then there's an event budget that was new to us this year.
Right.
What this would get, what our proposed number would be, is something that would be included in the event budget, not ours. So we can still make a proposal of what we think would be great, but it would not actually come out of the arts commission budget, it would come out of the
Right.
events budget.
Can I ask a question with that?
Yep.
I'll say what I thought. I thought it was like the events budget was 5,000 yearly, just that's what we put in this event budget. Would what we request be taken out of that 5,000 or on top of the 5,000?
It would be instead of the 5,000. So if we decide as a whole for every event, this event budget includes music in the parks,
Right.
probably our paint-along events. So any supplies, or if we,
Probably the what?
paint-alongs, paint and sips.
Oh, yeah.
So if we
Right.
decide to hire an artist that can
Okay.
come out of that budget, that would be the total. So if we decide for everything, we need $12,000, that's what we would pitch to.
Okay,
City council.
and that's what would go in that event budget then?
Correct, yes.
So I'm gonna just, okay, so Autumn Arts Festival and then like paint and sip, those would be considered events?
Correct.
Okay, and so if right now there's a $5,000 budget for events, and that wasn't really even considering the Autumn Arts Festival or Paint and Sip, then I would say, hey, if there's 5,000, because the parks is coming up with 5,000 for music in the parks, and we say, okay, well, we also need 5,000 for the Autumn Arts Festival, and we need $1,000 for Paint and Sip or whatever, then we would just, we want to itemize those in ours though and say, please add these to
Yeah,
the
and then I'll
event budget?
separate them
Okay,
in different.
great.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, should we have it in the same line, in the same format here, or I can separate these a little bit?
Either way you want to do
Okay.
it is totally fine, yep.
So, and because would we say it's part of our total budget request, or would we say there's a separate budget request for the events?
Separate budget,
Okay,
Yep.
okay. So Autumn,
Arts one is tough because you guys haven't like executed it in the new model yet.
No, but we kind of have a budget set for what we want to do this
Right.
year.
Yeah.
The confusing part to me would be what comes out of, or what will the parks be requesting as, do you know?
We
do you
would
know what I mean?
kind of mirror that. So the person that's managing the event budget is also the staff liaison for the
Yeah,
Park and Rec.
so they-
So
Okay.
They could merge
we're gonna
the
talk. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
line items, right? So if we're requesting something for Autumn Arts and then they're requesting it too. So I don't, what do you think, Amanda, should we just put 5,000?
That's what I was thinking. I mean, we think 42 for this year, and that's us maybe holding back on a few things.
Could we go to 6 just to have a look?
You know, and that's funny that you said 6, because Park and Rec, or the staff liaison estimated about 6 total.
Okay.
Between Arts and Park and Rec for the Autumn Arts Festival alone,
Okay, okay.
6,000. So we're kind of right
Well, let's say 6 then.
there.
Okay, I'll put 6,000, because, I think it changes the overall capability of what you can do. Like, right now, we can get a band that's a good, fun band that's really cheap because it's the uncle of someone who's, that was used to be on the Parks Commission, right? That's great. But, if we had more money, we could have an event kind of band, and have a bigger show.
And we have also a larger stipend to give our performing artists.
Yeah.
Shoot, there was one other thing I was gonna.
Because I'll tell you, is that it makes a difference. Like, so I've spent a lot of my life in theater, and most of it I did for free. And the times when I got paid, even if it was like $100 just to say, hey, here's $100 it was like, wow, thank you, So it's nice to be able to pay artists, even if it's a little bit, to just recognize their gas money, if nothing else.
My question would be then with artist fees, is that, I know the artist fees that we collect this year will go towards next year. Is that gonna be considered lumped into that 6,000 or on top of?
On top of.
Oh. Great. It's gonna be a hell of a party next year. No.
I'm gonna buy a coffee.
Okay, hang on a second.
Do we start at the top of this sheet and just go down one by one?
Yeah, so let's talk about utility wraps. So we're looking at 4,000 again. I mean, I just carried it over. What are we thinking about for next year on that?
Could we do 5,000?
We can.
I think.
What's the justification?
Like 4,000 was a good starter budget, just to kind of get us off of, but next year we're looking for like, community engagement, and not only that, but, like if we are looking at like potentially just having artists paint as well, contribute, I think artist fees, we want to support our artists, so, we want to make sure we build enough budget for that. Yeah.
Or if we have to, or if we want to purchase some images to use that are the correct size, that can wrap all the way around. Also, I don't know if folks saw, but when we had initially posted the images, and we might have already discussed this, on social media, there were a few comments from folks who didn't love the options. And so that could be some justification that, we heard from the public that maybe we need to invest a little bit more in our image options or art options.
Okay, so I just added those notes into the justification. So I have justification for this. It's a highly popular and relatively low-cost way to add visual interest to public spaces, looking to expand community engagement and possibly pay artists to paint directly on boxes, and other images may be more costly for copyright. Sound good?
Can you add that E into interest?
I noticed
What?
as well.
Oh, you're looking at it live?
No, it's
Visual interest
printed.
right here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Everybody's a frickin' editor.
I know. I know.
Okay. Anything else on utility box wraps? Project Snowy, so as you see, it just says to cover ancillary costs, delivery fees, signage.
I would advocate for more.
2,500 maybe?
2,500 sounds like a great number.
Does that sound like a good, nice number?
I say so, like also because, Project Snowy is a big project and we've been trying to get this, completed, and for us to not invest in this big project that we've been trying to get off the ground for so long, I think it would say something if we didn't, have the money to do things.
So can you any other examples of like things that we would do? So if I'm saying
coat.
cost, delivery fees, signage,
Oh, yeah.
clear coat,
I mean, 2024 is the year of Snowy, right? So we have to have all of our expenses in 2024, I would think.
And have we spent some money from the snowy budget? Remind me, sorry.
I don't think so this year.
So we can say justification that in 2023, the project wasn't off the ground or organized in a way to justify expenses.
We'd also like to have a ribbon cutting ceremony.
I was gonna say.
That could also lump into a
that's where I'm just thinking like programming. You know, that kind of-
programming could.
Cost, yeah. Signage is not cheap.
No. Okay, so to cover ancillary costs, for example, delivery fees, signage, clear coat, programming. Does that work?
Yep.
Okay. Art cart supplies. So Carey is going to apply for a grant for our art cart. She found a kind of a niche grant that would be for where we're bringing art to the people, and art cart qualifies for that one. So I think this is something we need to keep in mind when if we do go and present, if there's an end of the year thing to the council. Commissions used to do that. There would be like an end of year, in January, there'd be a follow-up, and the commissions would kind of.
Coming back.
It's coming back?
Yeah.
Good. I think that's a good thing to have. But we can talk about, hey, here are how many grants we've applied for so far, here's how many more that we can apply for. So we're trying to get other funding sources. So anyway, art cart supplies, $500.
I don't know, I feel like we should bring that up a little bit. Because I feel like right now we're at like the bare bones level, but if we just put a little bit more money into it, maybe we could actually hire an artist to lead.
So instead of toilet paper rolls, we have paper
Paper
towel
towel
rolls.
Oh, hang on.
Same wavelength, you guys.
See, get to work.
No, my husband uses paper towels like nobody's business. Y'all should have said something.
Start now. I feel like
Text him now.
that's one of our most visible projects so
Yeah.
far,
Yeah.
too.
And maybe we can add refreshments or something fun for $500, right?
Maybe
our
we could
rationale
have the-
here that-
the
so-
art cart more frequently.
Yeah,
What are we thinking here? Double it, 1,000?
yeah, for sure, double everything.
I mean, would it, like also for, I know like right now we have volunteers doing it. They are doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. They're transporting themselves there and back, and taking a lot of time there. Is there something to kind of like incentivize more volunteers in a monetary type of way or otherwise?
Well, that makes them not volunteers,
Yeah.
but what about like a partnership with an elementary education art program that it's like a summer internship that they run the art cart and manage it, do all the projects, have a budget, et cetera. I mean,
Yeah, and they could be part of the planning from the get-go so that there's like, programming, like they've done a curriculum, whatever it is. Yeah.
I love it. It's a great idea.
I know we did reach out to Century College in the last couple of years, and what's tricky about higher ed is most faculty are on 9-month appointments, and so they're not there in the summertime, or they're, in Century's case, they retreat to working in their studios, and they're not doing administrative things, and then they fight up against this pressure of teaching during
But not
the
just
school year.
faculty, you can look at recent elementary ed graduates.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have art cart supplies, $1,000. This is ongoing. The art cart brings art directly to the people, especially children. We would like to increase funding to improve the quality of the programming, including better supplies and possibly payments to artists to lead sessions with children.
Beautiful.
Okay. Branding and communication, $500.
That'd be at least 1,000.
Yeah.
We need more t-shirts.
Yeah.
This is when you ask for the money. You gotta ask for all you
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
get.
it doesn't hurt to ask.
Well,
And then they cut, you know.
volunteer t-shirts, I think those are an incentive to volunteer. Like if every volunteer gets a t-shirt, he's like, no, I don't want a t-shirt.
The only thing with that is managing the inventory then.
No, I know.
Everybody wants larges. But like if they got a mug or something.
Oh, sure.
Or whatever.
Or even just stickers that say
Yes, yes.
like the website, or yeah, even just stickers, things like that. Signage to go near every snowy, that advertise the ACC. A giant sticker for the art cart, maybe with the logo.
There are two now.
Oh, there are, okay. Photographers at events, maybe. We could commission, I was taking notes on this for a while, thinking about it.
All right, make that one 2,000.
Yeah.
Commission somebody to make a video at an event. There's lots of potential possibilities, and
Even, you think about website stuff,
yeah,
maybe, right?
that's a big one.
All right, how much is this gonna cost me? No,
Well,
so-
I have a question about the website stuff. So are we able to pay somebody to do work on the website outside of, or would that be like Carey's job?
That is Carrie's job.
Okay.
So she has the ability to do video. She does photography. She can also do all the website stuff. So if we want to go above and beyond that, that's certainly a conversation for photography and video, but for website, that's
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we could, yeah, if we wanted like graphic design for anything, any event signage, signage, or if we want to make like a calendar, a graphic calendar of ACC events to share with the public, something like that.
Ooh, that's a cute,
That would be so
calendar's a cute
fun.
idea, like have art submitted by,
Didn't they do that at Maplewood?
they might have,
Couple years
by
ago?
residents, and then we could put
Yeah.
out a calendar.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Could be a calendar of the ACC projects too.
Yeah. It could be both.
Yeah.
It could be mixed together.
Would we ever like be at events, like have our own booth, and then we could hand out like tote bags with our branding on them to like, I'm just, now that we're on a spiel of like,
One of my hopes for the Arts Festival is to have an information booth at the festival, so we would be there.
we can get
present
free
in that.
stuff.
Stickers.
Yeah.
Back to the stickers.
Swag.
And like at the farmer's market, they sell those shopping bags. Like you can buy them. So we could have totes that people could buy. Is that too messy?
A little messy, but I can certainly ask and see how that could look.
I know a great place to get a great deal. I'll look at pricing.
So, 2,000 just still seems a little high, so, I mean, we'd be quadrupling what we did.
Well, maybe we're taking something, like maybe some of these items are going into those budgets. So if we're handing it out at the festival, it's actually a festival budget,
Right.
but
We also don't have the mural project on here yet. Gonna add another 10.
she said to shoot for the moon.
What?
She said to shoot for the moon.
Maybe putting branding at 1,000. So I think Emily, I think your ideas are super phenomenal. And before this meeting, Carey Urbanbacher was a contracted city staff, and we were kind of limited to what we could ask her collaboration and support with. Now she's a paid city employee, so I feel like that opens the doors to a bit more flexibility. Even with her being part-time, she is pretty efficient. So it might, if we double the branding communications budget, try to double it for this year, see how it goes with Carey's additional support.
Agreed, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, because if she can do a lot with website and things like that, and she's helping out a lot that way, I mean, that helps with a lot of our branding awareness.
I have a quick question about budgets. So say like if we have these earmarked, right? And say like next year, we want to readjust where it's allocated, could we do that?
Within our own budget?
Yeah. Okay, so say we had branding and communications at 2,000, but then we realized, oh, mural is gonna cost a little more. Could we do like, okay, we're gonna leave 500 branding and communications and move 1,500 to, okay, great.
Yeah, so, which is what we're doing this year too, see? Like, we had mural project 1, mural project 2. We're just saying, well, it's one thing. What we're not touching right now, because there's at least been 3 subcommittees who have talked about this money, is the art installation, $2,000. So that's kind of some potential flex money for us this year. So whether that's for utility box or something else, I mean, we have that money. And if we don't use it, we don't use it, and that's okay too. So 2024, so here's what I got so far. Utility box wraps Phase 2, $5,000. Project Snowy, $2,500. Art cart supplies, $1,000. Branding and communications, $1,000. Mural project, $10,000. And that's getting us to 19.5. The only thing I would say, Carey, about the mural project is, should we try and identify a specific location for this? I mean, should we try and be more specific about this one?
Sure, we could.
And just say, we want to do a mural at this place, period.
Why would you want to do that?
I don't know.
I think council would find that more well-received if we had
Agreed.
some sort of a
Because otherwise,
high-level plan.
right.
And then we pull the trigger on love?
So I don't know if they'll approve for that for a private business.
Might have to be a public spot. What was the other locations that were?
Gateway Trail, somewhere along 7th.
But I thought Gateway, we had some issues, just
Right, because I think that's not
DNR.
city property. Somewhere in the parks and along Schreier.
Yeah. So I think, rationale, I mean, we can put a rationale, what's the value of a mural, but I think, so here's what I think we should do, Sarah. I can give this to you updated as is, but then Carey, I think we should try and, identify a location and clarify that.
Okay.
And then, hey, maybe I could give you my slide on all of the reasons why public art is good for the city of North St. Paul. That can go along with our budget submission. Anything else then? So. Here we go.
I mean,
What do you got, C?
Amanda, back me up here.
All
I
right.
thought we said something about culture.
Yes, okay.
Huh.
Oh,
I
I'll back you up
I
on
have a
that too.
comment,
Yeah.
a few. I would love to see a plan in place to have community feedback from other cultures, and what we should do, whether that's an event, a project. I think we need a project on our calendar for next year that is not art-focused, whether that
More culture focused.
more culture focused. It doesn't need to not have art, but it would be great if it celebrated the diversity in our city because it is large.
So, okay, if we're gonna go down that road, then you gotta tell me what's your definition of culture? Because to me, the Arts Festival last year was an arts and cultural event.
I would agree.
So, and I think it can be this year as well. So when we have, different cultures represented in, we had Indian culture, we had Mexican culture. We didn't have any, Hmong groups or anything like that, which I would love to have because I think we have a large community here. But to me, that's part of cultural expression.
Part of, yes.
So what are we looking, when we're saying, I mean, I'm all for it, but where does it fit and what does it look like?
Part of it, for me, as this white woman coming to this table, is I don't have all of the answers. So I would love getting feedback from the community and leaders in each group that whether are holidays or certain celebrations that they celebrate that we can focus on, or if it's just down to we have Hmong days and we celebrate Hmong food or other events that are important to that culture. Again, I don't have the answers because I'm not a part of that of that community. But if we call in leaders in that community, people who are willing to give us their feedback on what they'd like to see, that's something I would be interested in.
I was just going to say, I think one easy way we could implement it a little bit is we're the Arts and Culture Commission, but a lot of our titles for things are arts focused. So even though the Autumn Arts Festival, it includes both, we just call it an arts festival. So what if we thought about calling it Autumn Arts and Culture Festival? So that piece is called out and letting people know that we're thoughtfully including that. It's not just that happens to be featuring different cultures.
Yeah, that's one idea. I just wanted more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that. You know, like, and I don't mind that as much either, but like Amanda was saying, you know, like, we make art stand by itself. How come we don't have something to make culture stand by itself as well?
Sure.
And, you know, like, I just remember one time when Lisa was like, we are the Arts and Culture Commission. You know, like, if we were just the Arts Commission,
Yeah.
then, you know, like,
So, and I kind of, I know, this is a good discussion, and I'm all for this stuff, but I also think about, like, when we first got started, it's like, and this is in our mission statement somewhere, but it's artistic and cultural expression. And so for me, when I think the inclusion of the word culture in our title seemed to me to be how we include cultural artistic expression, and it meant diversity in the artistic expression, but it was all art
Absolutely
in a
agree.
sense, you know.
yes, absolutely agree. You know, like, because we are not the DEI commission, right? I understand that. But, you know, like, sometimes, like, there needs to be more DEI work too. And, you know, like, we should include more of that in our work. And, you know, maybe we should have art that's specifically DEI, you know? Or, you know, like, something that focused towards DEI. And so you know, like Amanda was saying, it doesn't have to be something, like, huge. It could just be, you know, something acknowledging the different, you know, like, cultures, but in, like, regarding their, like, arts, right? Like, what kind of things that they have.
Maybe we have art cart projects.
Right.
That
it's-
reflected. Yes.
Exactly, and that's, so, because I even think about, like, the mural project, it's like, well, this is a golden opportunity on a public space to include the cultures of North St. Paul that are represented in our demographics.
I just don't believe that our commission can represent all of those and can make those decisions without getting input from people in
Oh,
those communities.
Yeah, sure.
So I'd love to see however we do it, we invite people from these communities.
Community engagement.
Yeah.
We do a community advisory board, $2,500 for a community advisory board that we convene and have them.
So, but you're not, but you're not gonna pay those people.
No, but you're
No,
gonna
no.
have refreshments and you're gonna give them food and you're gonna give them
So-
a bus pass if they need it, you know?
Okay. So I'm trying to think, would we include it in branding and communications, or would we do
No, I
this
think it
in
would be a whole different line item.
community
Community
engagement?
advisory board, and we
And the
would,
purpose is to seek feedback and input on,
From the diverse cultures in our community.
Yeah, but hang on, a community advisory board suggests that it's a long-term thing. a standing, like a subcommittee of this committee?
I think it'd be more like community listening sessions in a way.
Community town hall.
Yeah, or just to,
Well, I think previously, one of my first meetings here, Stacy, you brought up inviting them to come to our commission meetings, people of other cultures. And even if we could execute that, it doesn't even have to be a special meeting. It can be, come here and present to us your ideas, your thoughts.
But even that can be a barrier, you know, I mean, if you're not available on these nights because you work nights, or you're disabled, or you don't feel comfortable because you don't speak the language, you know.
Intimidating because it's a city hall and you're meeting.
We're so intimidating.
Yeah.
I see what everyone is saying, and yeah, we're intimidated. I would, so my point of saying including culture in the festival name is, my thought is we could do separate items, and I would love to see us be more thoughtfully incorporating this into the projects that we currently have.
Exactly,
So,
but I think that the point that Amanda's making is, we're all mostly white people.
right, so what I'm getting at is that maybe it's not just come people of different communities and tell us what we should be doing different at one town hall event. What if it's for each project, we go through a process to make sure that we're incorporating input from the communities that we're trying to reach, and being thoughtful about those DEI elements specifically, so that it's not just a separate siloed piece of what we're doing, it's being incorporated into every single project.
So when you look at the demographics of our city, I mean, it's 60% white. So how are you gonna identify people? Are they self-identifying? Are you going out to everyone's house? I mean, I guess I'm just looking for more specifics on what you're thinking.
I'm not saying don't do the single feedback event. I'm saying that I would like to see it incorporated more into our current projects, so it's not separated out. It's not a standalone item.
I'm going to make a suggestion, and I think this is really great conversation. It's probably long overdue. But I'm wondering if we can't make this as an agenda item for next month. And let's just, so, okay, if we want to add a line item for community engagement, what's that funding request? What's the justification? And let's just get that budget thing done for this.
Sarah,
this
do you
one.
know
Is
when
that
they
okay?
held the city actually hired that person to do the community center town hall, right? Like they contracted him?
It was, yeah,
And what was like the budget around that? Or what was the
I
total?
do not know, but I can find that out.
Is there anyone within the city departments that their job is specific to reaching, the diverse communities of North St. Paul, or focusing on DEI work, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel? We could kind of come in with some knowledge about who we're trying to reach and how we could reach some of those folks?
Unfortunately, there wouldn't be anybody focused on that right now.
Are there any other initiatives or plans within the city to?
For DEI-related type
Yeah,
of
just
things.
more engagement across commissions, across the council?
Not that I'm aware of currently.
Long overdue.
Yet, yes.
So let's do it.
Notes.
Let's be the ones to start it.
Message, Carey. I'm still hung up about your text message.
I don't even know what I sent you.
You don't remember sending me pictures of that brochure about, is it not your phone number? Am I thinking of someone else?
I don't know.
Tell us more.
I compartmentalize everything, see. I don't know what I do from day to day.
All she did was she sent me, she texted me pictures and asked me, what did I think about this, it was like this brochure from Maplewood, where they were having community engagement with DEI with their police force or something. And I mulled over it for a while, Carey.
You
And
did,
then I
you
was
thought
like-
about that.
And I was like, oh my gosh, Carey, that is the most brilliant idea ever. Because if you want to be an inclusive, community, you have to build inclusivity into the things that you do,
Because you're right, we can't be doing it as a commission. We can't be having it as an add-on with everything we're doing. So it's got to be baked into what we're doing. But if we're the only commission thinking about it or talking about it, and city council isn't even talking about it, and the staff isn't,
Yes.
sorry.
It's no,
Join Maplewood's Multicultural Advisory Committee. Our team works collaboratively to enhance relationships between police and the community, specifically with underrepresented communities, immigrants, refugees, people of color, indigenous people, and the faith community. So it's run through the police, it sounds like, but they're looking for candidates to attend monthly meetings, participate in outreach, accept people from different backgrounds, have existing community connections, and be willing to foster new ones, and work cooperatively with the police in enhancing relationships among all cultures. Live, work, worship, or be connected to Maplewood. I think that's pretty groundbreaking for Maplewood. That's some of the best stuff I've seen come out of there in a long time. I'm sorry.
Not saying a whole lot.
No. Anyway,
Yeah, and you know, like St. Paul has their, like their DEI type of advisory committees, and of course they're a larger city, but like we are pretty much metro. We have all those different types of people here in our community as well, and for us to not like have something even remotely similar or anything that would that you would hear from different voices within the community, you're missing out on a chance.
You hit the nail on the head with hear their voices.
Yeah.
I can't decide for you what celebrating your culture looks like, but if you tell me what you are looking for, I can help execute it.
And if we're just specifically looking through the lens of art, we're absolutely missing out on art as well, if we're the only people represented.
I think this is all wonderful. I do agree with Tom, too. I think this is going to be, I think we need to take the next month individually and kind of work out what this means to each of us
Because there's,
and discuss it at the next meeting.
Need our council.
Yes,
we need our council liaison.
we do. Yeah, she'll be important to this. As far as budget goes, I'm finding, as we're talking, it's hard to kind of quantify this
yeah.
into a number. So I'm kind of curious
So-
what your,
Yeah, it's really hard until we know what it looks like. And from what I'm hearing in the discussion right now, it sounds like it could be something that's much broader than the Arts and Culture Commission. It could be a citywide thing. Then then it's a whole different thing. But even if it's something where it's community engagement, we have listening sessions. We did this when we did the the comprehensive plan. We had like 6 forums, that were at park buildings, they were here, they were all over the place, they were at private businesses or whatever, and we sent out lots of mailers and things like this for people in the community to come and say what they wanted to say about this stuff. And so I think that's a good way to start, and I think that costs almost nothing. I mean, because if you want to have cookies and coffee or something like that, there's not a lot of money there, but there's a great chance to learn a lot, And if we can even host them, like, as a council member, I went to an event. It was the Hmong Business Association at the Hmong House in North St. Paul, and I was overwhelmed with what I saw there. It was amazing. We had they had all the gubernatorial candidates, because it was whatever year it was, 2020 or 2019 or something, but all the gubernatorial candidates were there. We had the ambassador from Laos was there. I couldn't believe the people, and it was this was a big event, and I don't know if that's an annual thing that they do or not, but connecting with those people at the Hmong House and into that Hmong Business Association could be a good route to maybe try and, it might be a good place to host something,
The other thing that makes it tricky too to plan from a budgeting perspective is not all cultures are accepting of cookies and coffee. When you go, if you were going to their places, that might not be what they want or what they need. So,
But, yeah, and it's also not about the cookies and the coffee or whatever. It's, just having a venue, a forum.
I think also, like outreach wise, you got to think that, the usual methods of communicating with, like white people is not necessarily the same as the same way like other cultures might get information, right? Like some people might be more like video based or like, you know, like specifically they're watching certain YouTube channels or whatever. And so like when you are posting it on, you know, like Facebook or on the website, like it's possible that you're missing out on the whole segment of people because you're not communicating in a way that the people that you want to reach are gonna hear or, you know, get the information. So you just have to be also,
And
yeah.
sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. That kind of dips into the branding and communication
Yeah.
potential budget areas as well. If we're thinking about unique ways to reach people, and some of those things do involve money, especially if we're looking into things like translations or interpreters, and not just for people who don't speak English, but if we're thinking about accessibility, ASL, captioning, things like that.
Do we have translators available at the city level?
So funding request.
2,500 for community outreach and engagement, for all of the things that you just said.
Interpretation services.
Interpretation,
translation
advertising on
services.
Facebook, YouTube, videos, preparing things in different ways.
The other question is, can some of our budget be used for internal billing to support staff time for some of these initiatives? Because we're all volunteers and I love being here and being a part of all of this, but even with some of our other projects, we've ran into some internal struggles because it's not in the other city departments' budgets to help support us. So for some of this outreach stuff, could we like internally hire city staff? So if they allocate it to us and we hire them to execute our plan, would there be less resistance because then it's not coming out of their pocket, it's coming out of ours?
Potentially, I can certainly ask. Yeah, I haven't come across that question yet, so I can ask.
Wonder if our, sorry, I might jump topics here, not fully. I wonder about if our culture piece would just be that the ACC is a safe place for people to come and discuss what they need in the city in general. Not that it has anything to do with arts or anything, but that we can then recommend changes to the city council directly. So not that we're putting on events, not that we're putting on art, but we are the place where they can come and voice what they need in our city.
Although I love that idea, I feel like it's out of the scope of our committee. But I do wonder about like what the process might be for like if the city were to, you know, like to do a committee that would, you know, be geared towards DEIA, you know, so that we could ourselves, you know, like plug into it. Like they have the people, they have the representation or whatever. And like they also have the people who could reach out to those communities. And then we could plug into their network or connections so that we could get our arts stuff, get feedback on our arts stuff, you know?
So that group is a broader and can be a resource to all commissions and the city council, and we're
Yes.
just
And just build it
using them
in
as
and,
a
like,
resource.
Build it into the
Yeah.
policy, into the policy work of North and Wong.
Yeah, absolutely, because, you know, I love the ideas of opening our doors, but a lot of this stuff takes place on an individual level, relationship building, trust building, and, you know, there's only so much of that we can do sitting here, but if there are people specifically allocated to go into the community and build those relationships, and also develop, I think, a way to apply the ideas and values that we're talking about in a really competent way and instruct others on how to do that, that would be more meaningful, I think, than maybe, I think there's a lot of mistakes can be made when there are good intentions, but people don't know what they're doing and how to talk to different people. So if there's some sort of like body of experts who could kind of inform everyone on how to do this competently, that would be really helpful. I love that idea, C.
So
That would be a great presentation for the city council. So,
Councilman.
as much as I actually really do love that idea, and I think it's very much needed here in North St. Paul, that is a presentation that somebody would have to go and present and talk about it and get that ball rolling that way.
So, yeah, so again, I think there's a ton we can talk about on this, but right now we just gotta get some budget ideas out here. So the community engagement thing, I do think like some of the things you're saying, Emily, those are, I think they're broader city things. And for us to try and fund a lot of that just in our own budget seems like a lot. It's things that maybe the city should do more generally. And if that ends up bumping up our, you know, our ask for just that one line item to, you know, $5,000, I think it'll probably be met with some resistance, or I think we gotta have, you know, clearer justification for that, and why that would only be just in this commission's budget.
Wouldn't it be amiss if we didn't add it and then like nothing gets done regarding DEI or community outreach? or
No,
engagement?
but I'm just saying $5,000, you know, so would, you know, what can we do, like, what's your number for this
Oh.
community engagement? That's what I'm trying to get at here.
Oh, okay. What is your number?
When's the next city council meeting?
2 weeks from yesterday, so the 20th.
Because we could also organize and show up as the public at the next city council meeting and make this presentation as the public.
Yes, but what is that budget that we want to give to Tom?
2,000.
2,000? He said 5,000 though.
No, I said
said
2,000,
5,000
I
is too
think
much.
5,000 would be a tough.
So we're saying for interpretation services,
Yeah. anything
accessibility pieces.
2,500?
I don't know what this costs. I have no idea.
Okay, so what I've got here so far is, so we got the utility box wraps 5,000, Project Snowy 2,500, art cart supplies 1,000, branding and communications 1,000, mural project 10,000, and community engagement 2,000. That gets us up to 21,500. So that's
2,500 for the community engagement and then
okay. And then we've got, so separately, we have Autumn Arts Festival 6,000, and Paint and Sip, we have nothing.
because it's built into the events.
No,
I
well,
know
we need
there's
to
for
request
that
some budget
event.
for that.
So how much would we request for those events?
Do we want to hire someone to?
Yeah, I think we'll need to hire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so without 1,000 or 2,000, I think.
I don't know. How much is it to
It-
hire a person?
Those are a charge thing, so I don't know, maybe if we, you know, I don't know what you'd pay a person, I have no idea.
I don't either.
It's about like, what, 2 hours of work?
And whatever prep they have to do.
They're bringing
$250.
materials, or if we're,
Yeah.
We're providing them.
We're providing all materials.
but I'm just thinking if we do different, other than just acrylic paint canvas night, what if we did
No worries.
different events?
I
Okay,
think that'd be too hard.
okay,
Especially if it's paint specific.
yeah.
So, $1,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to think about this too, and I can't remember the percentage exactly, but so we're looking at a funding request of $22,000 for Arts and Culture Commission. So that's, you know, nearing double what we did for this year. And then $7,000 for the events, which would, you know, more than double what the current events budget is. When you get into council budget meetings, they look at, I think there's something like for every $25,000, it's an additional X percent of tax increase, you know, for property taxes. So it's just something to think about. So, you know, we can say, yeah, hey, now's the time, shoot for the moon, et cetera, but I think, you know, it also, it's like, then you also become a big target, you know, the bigger your number is. So we may want to think about that too. So I don't know when your final time is, when you want this done, Sarah?
Brandy was looking to have it before the next council meeting, so
Okay.
pretty quick
So-
here.
My question would be, does the council look at that and say, no, you don't get this line item at all? Or will they say, we'll give you half of this line item?
I don't know if they will look at line item at all. They will look at the overall commission budget
Okay,
and say, well, we can't do $22,000, we can do 15.
and then we just split that
Then
up
we would have
however
to
we,
make those
okay.
decisions, yeah. So just something to think about, because every year when it comes to budgeting time, there are always increases to take into account, and so even trying to keep a flat budget can be very difficult. So when we're looking at adding significantly, and I mean, this isn't huge, but, you know, anything where you're seeing increases is gonna be something where the council is gonna go, well, hang on a second. You know, so, but if we have good rationale for everything, it's great. But what I would suggest is, so Sarah, I'll send this to you, you can send it out to everybody, and then if anyone has any ideas, just send them back to Sarah. You know, the only, you know, one saving grace that I see is a potential in here is we got $10,000 in here for a mural. So that's almost half the budget right there. If we were able to get some funding for a mural, then that would be $10,000 that wouldn't need to be spent. But at the end of the day, it would still need to be budgeted for. So that's the hard thing that happens there, so.
Sorry, Sarah, do you know how much of our budget we spent so far this year?
I don't off the top of our head, but I want to say we're probably at 35 or 40%. We haven't spent a lot yet, but I know with the murals coming up, and then when we finally get the utility box invoice, it'll be a little bit higher. But I can get those numbers pulled together and send them out as well.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And I do, Tom, like the idea of us submitting our budget request with the slide that you have
Yeah.
that does, because it will be shocking to our council to see the number, the total number. And that slide would help remind the council why we exist and the importance of what that number is going to serve.
Yeah. Okay, so this was really good discussion. I think, Sarah, note for next meeting is that we have in our business action items and recommendations, we reserve some time there for this culture discussion, and pick that up. And so I think it'd be nice for everybody in the interim is to think about what is the shape of that? You know, what would we do? And what might that look like? What might it cost? All of those things so that we can start to get a framework around it. Anything else then on that for budget discussion? Okay, old business. I don't think we have any old business. Sarah, do we have anything?
Nope,
Okay. Reports from staff, Sarah?
nothing new.
Reports from commissioners. I'll start down with you, Amanda. You got anything?
Not necessarily reports, just a open request that I'd like to have a conversation with you and or Carey about the website and beefing up the arts and culture pages that we have and don't have.
Carey?
Nothing.
Stacy?
I have nothing, no.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. We don't, I'm sorry, C?
I do not have anything.
Emily?
I just wanted to mention that, as you all know, I've been absent for a little bit, but I am back, and you can include me on things again. I would love to be included, thank you. And yeah, if you guys want to loop me back into the utility box project,
Let's get you on
Chatter.
some projects.
Yeah.
You need some subcommittees, Emily.
I have one, I just had to pause with them.
That's the utility boxes, right?
Yep, yeah, but I'm also interested in helping with the arts festivals, the Autumn Arts Festival too, so.
Great, okay.
Are we gonna march in the parade again?
I don't know.
The parade is on.
14th. And that's right before the thing, so maybe we shouldn't this year, but I didn't wanna.
When
The
is it?
Fall Roundup Parade is happening this year.
It's September 14th, and then the arts festival is the, 16th?
I think we should do something,
Oh,
just trying to drum up interest. What?
The
You're
only,
saying
I
no, you
mean,
don't want
like, some ideas, we had the snowy that we could parade through town last year, which was a lot of fun. But like, maybe we could have a cultural listening session day scheduled and have a QR code on the snowy or something that directs people to come to it.
We should do something fun in the parade though, too. Like, I don't know, like some sort of performative item, like handing out chalk or something, I don't know, to add art.
Or
Stickers.
just have bubble guns.
Back to the stickers, yeah.
There you go.
have a great
Carey,
snowy
you want a
costume.
t-shirt gun to get
Yeah.
those t-shirts out there?
There is a one in, North St. Paul has one. I know Terry was always one wearing that thing. Okay, anything else, Emily? Okay, we don't,
I have a question about our next meeting.
Mhm.
Can we,
well,
like,
it's July
change
5th,
it?
yeah.
Because
Oh.
that's hard.
I know, I see that being a potential issue.
It's a huge conflict. I don't like it.
Do we have people who know will be out on the 5th?
I will be out.
Okay. That's, what is it, a Wednesday?
Yes.
They're all Wednesdays.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's
I would
the
hope
5th.
Even delaying it like,
So what is it,
a
the
week
day after
would
the
help?
4th of July then?
yes,
The 5th?
yeah.
Just trying
It's
to
like, could
throw
we
out another
like
dumb
delay it a
question.
week? Would there be any?
The 12th
opposition.
instead? I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
July
I don't
12th.
see any issues with that. I'll have to check availability and all that, but
Okay.
I can send that out.
If you had to take vacation, you could take vacation too. Just saying.
I fly back in and I get in at midnight the night before, so I was hoping we wouldn't have a meeting on the 5th, but I was gonna
Oh,
make it
okay.
work if
So,
we,
yeah, do you want to look into that, Sarah?
Yeah.
And we can just make
so
a,
you would all be okay if we switched it to the 12th?
I
If I
think
can
so.
get that coordinated?
I think
okay.
so. Mhm.
I'll work on that.
Okay. So if nothing else, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Stacy?
Second.
Second by Emily. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 8:16 PM. All right.